space. I'm going to start here. Yes, sir. What is the question? So we have no space. Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, it's ready.
That's not right. Let's try to manage this space. So for the A part, who has done it? You've done A part. Okay, great. What first thing you did?
You change 9 to
So you subtract that, combine it, right?
yeah, and then
Change this to
9.
2. Another thing you could do. Yes, Elsie?
Take it out of the fraction.
How do you take out the fraction?
You turn into the
Yeah, that's exactly what. So when you divide, so it's going to be this divided by this, which you subtract. So you guys are saying the same thing. Well done. There's something else I could do if I don't want to do the divide thing.
Multiply it.
You cross multiply. You will cross multiply, something like this. This times 1 remains the same. This times this, you do that also. Do you get my point? Okay, so either way will work. So this is what we mean. If I go by your method, we're going to do 3 2x plus 1 divided by 3 to the power x. Then Jamila was talking about this. Right? This is our 9. Isaac, over here. Thank you. This is our 9. So 9 is 3 squared. Okay? So combining this, like they said, gives us 2x plus 1 minus x and 2x. Right? So now, we can compare the powers. Or we can go a step further. Do you agree this is x plus 1?
Yeah.
Okay? And when we compare the powers, we get the simple linear equation that. Right? And x will be equal to 1.
Yeah.
So if I take this away, I get 1 equals 2x minus x. So eventually x is equal to 1. So what Joey was talking about is we could cross multiply. From here, we could do 2x plus 1 equals 3x times 9 to the power x, like that. You could do that too. Okay? This times this times that, and this is 1. So anything times 1 doesn't change, right? So you do the same. And this will be 3 to the power 2x, which you can combine. Okay? And you still get the same result. So we don't need to do that. Okay? Second question, similar technique. You could do division here, but you have to be careful with your subtraction. Who has done number B? Okay, most of us also. So let's see. So 4x divided by 8, 2 minus x. Is that what you did? And this is it the same problem? Talk to me, everyone. Is it the same problem?
Yes.
Anika, I'd rather you listen. So this is 2 squared, right? Talk to me.
Yes.
I like to use brackets for a reason. I could have written 2 to the power 2x. I could have written 2 to the power 2x. But it may not be easy to do similar thing here for most people. So can we just stick to bracket first? Okay? So here also, 8 is that, right? But there was a power on 8 before. Do you understand that? This is this. This is this. Like that. Okay? Because if you don't want to use the bigger bracket, you could actually write it this way as well. Okay? Because we have to multiply the power inside by the one outside. So if inside or outside is a binomial, which means 2 terms, then you have to use bracket because you have to multiply by both, expanding bracket. You remember that, right? Okay, so at this point, tell me what I have.
2.
Yeah? Yes?
6 minus 3.
Great. We have more than 2 people in the class.
2x minus 2.
What?
2 times 2x plus 2.
So what does that become?
2x to the power of 2x
Huh?
minus 6.
Bracket, not 6. This is the point. You're subtracting the second power. The second power is not one term. Cherry, the work is here, not here. If you don't put a bracket, you won't get the same result. And this is, for addition, do I need a bracket?
No.
Because if you open a bracket with plus, it's the same. But if you open a bracket with minus, it's not the same. Does it make sense? So opening the bracket, what do we have? 2x minus 6 plus 3x. And this is just simply 3x minus 2, right? So if I compare, I get 5x minus 6, 3x minus 2. Did you get that equation?
Yeah.
Yeah. 5x minus 3x minus 2 plus 6. Who forgot to put the bracket and got different equation? So that's what happens, okay? This is why I tell you to listen when we're having a correction, so you can quickly see your mistake. Alright? You've done it, just focus, let's do it together, then you see why you have made some minor mistakes. It happens, you know. So this is going to be 2x equals 4, and your x equals 2. But you wouldn't have gotten x equals 2. Probably get a fraction somewhere. Yeah? Okay. So C is similar, cross multiply, or if you want to use divide. You could avoid this bracket mistake if you restrict yourself to this method. Who can tell me why? This bracket mistake could be avoided if you use this technique. Somebody tell me why. Justin? You don't need divide. Remember, divide comes with minus. Minus comes with bracket. So if you are the type that forgets using that bracket, then I suggest you go with cross multiplication because it's just plus. And whether you forgot to put the plus bracket for plus or not, it doesn't really matter anyway. Do you understand? And same thing here. So you can do the same here. So I'm going to skip this. Anyone who has not done with this two, you should be able to complete this yourself now if you haven't done it. You can try it in two ways. Do the division, do the cross multiplication, see if you can avoid the mistake of brackets. Does it make sense? So I'm going to leave this as DIY. Now, my very lovely part. My best friends.
I did it a very, very cheap way.
Yeah, you always do that. I know. But I don't want that way. Okay, so let's see. D 4 to the power x minus 2 to the power x negative 2 equals 0. You know, this looks tricky because these are same base, right? The only difference is there is nothing like times. If I have 4x times 2, x times 2, then you could write this. Is that not? Talk to me, everyone.
Yes.
And that could be, because the law allows us to add the powers when multiplication is involved, subtract the powers when division is involved. There is no law that talks about do something to the power when minus is involved. So that's where the tricky part is. And this is what you do in higher grades, from 4 at least. That's the earliest time you would do it, from 4. If you are not doing it from 4, then you're going to do it from 5. Or if you are doing A level, then you'll definitely come across this. So, what you do is change the base. Something looks similar to all of them. Change the base. This will be 2x, right? Or better still, this is 2 squared x. Watch, can you see that? Also, what happens to this thing? When I have a power inside and a power outside, what happens? I multiply. Now, if you multiply 2 by 3 and I decide to change the order 3 by 2, have I made any blunder?
No.
It's still the same, right?
Yeah.
So is it safe for me to say this?
Yeah.
Is it safe for me to write that?
Yes.
Is it safe for me to write that?
Yes.
Look at it. I change this to this. It's the same.
Yeah.
So this is the trick. For this type of question, you have to try to get the same thing. So if you check this place and this, they look alike. So what we are going to do is to let 2 to the power x be m. Anyway, we see 2 to the power x now, we put m. So what does this become? What does this become? What does this become? What does this look like?
Wow.
What does that look like? Quadratic equation. So this type of problem leads to quadratic equation.
That's how you do it.
Alright, so let's factorize. This is a monic equation. When I say monic, it means this a is 1. Okay? So monic equation, we can write the factorization easily. So what are the factors? M. Yes? There will always be 2 and 1, right? So which one is minus? This is plus. So when you solve the equation, m equals, or m equals, was there any m in the original problem? You brought this upon yourself, you have to fix the math. Something like that. So you have to go back. Nobody tell you about m. We are the one bringing in m. So we're going to remind ourselves, oh, remember, 2 to the power x equals to m, right? So for each of the m's, we write no equations. 2 to the power x equals, for the first m, 2. 2 to the power x equals, for the second m, this cannot be solved. There is no way you can write the power of 2, that no power of 2 gives negative 1. Do you agree?
But it was positive when you solve it.
Yes. No power of 2 gives negative 1. Do you understand that? So this cannot be solved. That is why if I saw 1 or 2 people using logarithm, if you write this as a solution in logarithm, remember we did something that we have to use logarithm, compound interest, remember that? So if you use logarithm, it's going to be logarithm to base 2 of negative 1. Logarithm of a negative number does not exist. Press your calculator, is going to give you error, don't break my head, don't break my, blow my brains and stuff like that. That's what the calculator says. You can't hear him. They're suffering.
Don't blow my voice.
They're suffering. So this cannot be solved. So this which cannot be solved. Or you can just write no solution.
So my answer is still correct.
So no solution. So if you write this with no solution, it's okay. Alright? But you have to, don't just say, oh, listen. Don't just look at it and say, oh, this cannot be solved, and you stop there. Write it out and just comment no solution. But for this, is there a solution here? Yes. So there's 2 to the power x, 2 to the power 1, then x is 1. I would not expect you to jump from here and write x is equal to 1. Because we have done solving equation. I will never jump from 1 to 3. Does it make sense? So the last one, yes sir?
I did it the different way, but my answer was still correct. So is that
It could be try and error, it could be by luck, it doesn't make it right.
So if this I got it correct just by coincidence then?
It could be, yes. If your solution is not logically explained, there's no reason for what you wrote, but you are just by chance. It's just like somebody who did this. So I came to class, I told you 2 squared is equal to 4. Alright? And I asked you to find maybe 1 to the power 1, and you said 1. You probably thought I did 1 times 1.
Oh.
So by coincidence, you misinterpreted this as 2 times 2 is equal to 4. So if I give you a similar question like this, then you will get it right. But the moment I give you 3 squared and you write 6, then you get it wrong. So this is just by coincidence. It doesn't make it right. Do you get my point?
With the test we still get.
Well, if it is, we mark not the answer but the steps. So if your question is say 10 points and your steps are okay, you could get 9 out of 10 even if the answer is wrong. But if the question is say 10 points and your steps are wrong, even if you get the answer is right, well, you might just get 1 out of 10. So what's the point? So how do you get it? Okay, the other one is the other side. So this is what you did. So this is definitely wrong. I want the class to tell me the mistake in this solution. So this is the kind of coincidence that I'm talking about. So you wrote that, then the next step he had this. Okay, remember this is raised to the power 1. Then you concluded and it got x is equal to 1.
That's very small. It's not correct though.
Do you understand what I mean now? If this was SAT, where nobody cares about the steps, all you have to do is check maybe option A, B, C, D, then of course your luck will win here. Just like gambling, and you win some money. Alright? But you could also gamble tomorrow and lose millions of dollars.
If I don't bet billions of dollars, I'm gonna lose that much.
Well, this is maths. Can you see the mistake? Can somebody tell me which step the blunder starts from? Let's number the steps.
The fourth one.
Third.
Oh, sorry, the third one.
That step still makes sense.
No, the fourth one, yeah, hey!
That step still makes sense, right?
Fifth one.
The problem was the fourth step.
The first?
The fourth, number 4.
Yeah, so I said.
Okay? That's where the problem started from. But luckily for him, he still got the right answer. So this is the coincidence we're talking about. Okay?
Why am I not allowed to do that?
Because it's wrong.
2 to 5, 2x minus 6 times x is not 2x minus
Just like asking, oh, why am I not allowed to steal from a store? Because it's wrong. You're going to go to jail for it.
You go to jail if you do that?
For stealing, the last time I checked, where math jail is when you get 0.
Mystery, I know how to math
Only if you
jail.
get caught. Did you hear what she said? Only if you get caught.
That makes sense. Go to jail only.
So, do you want to risk going to jail?
Oh, she's already been.
I've already done it.
Why are you laughing?
In good senses, I've already gotten away with it and never been in jail.
I've been to Monopoly jail.
Same.
Anyway, the kind of stealing I like to do is trying to steal some chicken wings when my wife is not in the kitchen. Then imagine you get into the kitchen and out of like 4 pieces or 8 pieces,
There's 0.
discover like 1 or 2 is missing.
I'm reporting you.
But of course I was never caught red-handed, so
You're caught.
there's no way she could prove that in
I'll
court.
snitch on you.
There's no way, and this is not a confession statement you can take it to the court. It's not happening. I'm gonna deny it.
It's filth.
I'm gonna say somebody's pointing the gun. I'm gonna deny it. I'm gonna say Joey was pointing a gun at me. I confess under duress, and I'm gonna get away with
I
it.
do not see a gun in Joey's hand right now.
Can we just turn the camera, have a look at her gun this hand?
All right. Let's do this. So again, our target here is to have these powers, something similar. So can somebody tell me how we could get that? Look at this, for example. You already have 3 to the power x waiting. So what do you want to get out of here? Another 3 to the power x, right? So how can we get that from here?
3 to the power of x bracket.
3 to the power of
X.
x.
What? You look scared.
I'm scared. And everybody's
Don't
saying
be
different.
scared. Here's some water.
Water doesn't really
3 to the power of 2,
X.
like that. Let's look at, but I need 3 to the power x, not 3 to the power.
You're so needy.
I know.
No, I'm not.
The first thing you do is to break it into 2.
Yeah.
Because looking at this, how do you get additional powers? What happened for you to get additional power?
Multiplication.
So let's reverse the process. What is that?
3 power 2x times 3 to the power 2.
That's the first thing you
And then
do.
3 to the
Now this
power
looks
x.
like,
Yes. Ooh.
can you see
3 to the
that?
power of x.
True? What is the question?
Just, I was like, wait, 2x times 2 is 2x.
No, no.
Yeah,
What's the-
I know, it's you.
Where does the 2 go?
Yeah, where's that go?
Yeah.
No, but like, what do you do with it?
What do we, no, of course. It becomes something. Just hold on. Do we get this?
Yes.
And why we had to reverse it?
Yeah.
Does everybody get that? Isaac? I was gonna say Alice, like, sorry. You're not Alice. So this, what can we do with the first part? The second part is easy. What is that?
3 to the power of x.
Can you listen before you talk? The second part is what?
3 to the power of
Just 9.
Oh.
Okay? So the problem is the first part now. What do we do with the first part?
3 to the power of x.
So we have 3 to the power of x bracket 2, right?
Yeah.
Times 9. Mr. Elson looked confused. Confused.com? Okay, you have to do website. So I could write this like this, or I leave it as times, it doesn't matter. Alright? So now we can introduce the power. So let my 3 to the power x this time be,
A.
is your name in here?
C.
Let me see.
J. J. J.
J.
J.
I don't like J.
T. Nice.
D.
T.
I don't like J either.
Hey, my name ends in Y, that's always
I haven't made a name with
Alright. Okay, so how do we write that now? If you change this, everybody, shh. If you change this to 3 to the power x, rewrite this for me.
Y
squared
times 9 minus 28 brackets Y.
Giselle, have you had breakfast today?
She
So,
needs a copy.
what do we write now? Does this look familiar to us? So tell me the next thing you will write.
9y squared.
Thank you. At least write it.
8y
Yeah.
plus 3 equals 0.
So what do we do now?
Factorize.
Factorize. Remember this factorization guy? Remember that?
Yeah.
So what are the factors of 27? That gives you 28.
27 and 1.
Just 7 and 1. So 9y squared minus what? 27y minus 1y, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's factorize. Come on, everybody, talk to me.
9y squared.
9y
Plus, no, wait, no,
Minus
minus.
27.
Minus y. No, wait, no, minus 1.
9y
Wait, what?
minus 1 times 9.
See, I told you it's minus 1.
Y minus 3.
Say that again.
Y,
9y minus y.
okay. 9y
9y
minus 1.
minus 1.
Bracket. The brackets around the 9y and the minus 1.
Like this?
Yeah.
No, I don't want that.
What?
You need to show me how you got that.
Plus
Okay, good for you.
We all use cross one.
Come on, guys.
oh, the plus 1.
What are you trying to do here? You tell me you've forgotten how to factorize any quadratic expression that is non-monic.
I use the cross method.
No, don't use the cross method. Let's factorize.
9y minus 1 and then y minus 27.
So that is you jumping to the answer. How do you get it is my question. I told you if you do not have this type, I want to see the
You
steps.
have to break 9y squared. 9y and 1 times y.
Oh no, this is not happening.
We forgot the steps.
Everybody check your notes.
Use cross method.
We reviewed this thing a whole class. When most of you were writing different foreign languages for me, pretending it's a math solution, and we reviewed this a whole class. And this is why some of you struggle with algebraic fractions and stuff, because something was wrong with your factorization. And that's why we spent a whole class. So if you have found what I'm looking for, let me know.
I know.
See, I go the different way.
You're not listening, are you? You need to learn to be open-minded.
You know, put two brackets that are the same thing, so they become
So what do I do first? I know. You just said I know. Now you can tell me.
I know brackets.
Tell me the next step, Miss.
9 brackets y squared minus. Like you need to make the brackets the same. So you need to do this on one bracket and then this one on
Just tell me what to write.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, right.
Bracket 3.
Oh, 9. Oh, 9. Oh, yeah, it's a 9y. And 9y.
I don't want is it. I want the answer.
It is. Okay, 9y.
9y.
Brackets.
Bracket.
Y.
Y.
Minus 3.
Minus 3.
Brackets.
What?
Minus. Minus? Yeah, minus. It's a negative. Minus 1. 1. Bracket. Y minus 3. Bracket plus 3. Oh.
Some of you find the cross method confusing. I could remember that was what led to me spending an whole class on this that day. Does anybody remember that?
Yeah.
Some people were making different mistakes going back and forth, using trial and error for the cross method, whenever this is not 1. And that's why I told you, you must use this technique. And there was a whole class on it. The video is still on that playlist. And if you still find it this difficult, you might have problem with some topics in algebra. So I would recommend you go back, watch that video. If you need me to prepare some extra worksheets for you to practice, I'm happy to post that online for you to practice. But you have to learn how to factorize in this form. This wouldn't give you trial and error. I remember when we did the cross method, if something doesn't work, you have to erase it, try another thing. You remember that technique? But you don't have to do trial and error here. That's why I said, okay, if that was not working for everybody should start using this method. And I'm surprised, 2 months after, you've forgotten what Mr. Miracle spent so much time teaching you guys. That's nice. Okay. So, what do we have from this point? What do I do next? That's not what I told you. You see, if you just write because, oh, we're going to write this next, there's a reason for everything you write. Is it time already? 3 minutes to the end. Okay. If you just write because of that, then you won't. Why do we write that bracket 9y or whatever you just said?
You have to take out the same, what's the same?
The common factor.
Yeah.
What is the common factor? And that doesn't sound like 9y. You knew you have 2 brackets and you just want to restrict yourself to 2 brackets. And I told you exactly, actually we factorize again. You're factorizing twice. You factorize two groups, then you factorize everything as a whole. So now the common bracket is y minus 3. You're factorizing from this group and this group. So what do you have left? From the first group? 9y. And from the second group? So when you tell me, oh, bracket 9y minus 1, bracket y minus 3, you are definitely not factorizing. You have memorized the fact that you're having 2 brackets. I don't want that. So if I see anyone factorize like this from this step, I think I should cancel it from that moment. It means you memorize what to do. You didn't really understand what you're doing. Do you get what I'm trying to say here? You have to show me that you actually understand what you're doing, not memorize, oh, I'm going to need 2 brackets anyway. So from here now, what do we say?
Y minus 3 equals 0.
Oh.
9y.
So here y is 3 because of our time. 9y is 1, then y equals 1 over 9. Is this the end of the solution?
No.
No, because we have to do like 1 minute.
Recall.
So we're going to recall back what we put in. Recall 3 to the power x equals y, right? So from the first part, 3 to the power x is what? 3. From the second, 3 to the power x is what? 1 over 9. And these are simple equations you have solved before. This is how you proceed. Any question? Okay, that will be the end for today. Today's